Welcome to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast, a relaxing and informative show where we explore anxiety, panic, and PTSD, sharing how you can overcome them for life.
Aloha! Welcome back to the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. I'm your host and coach, Gina Ryan, and I am so happy to be with you again today as together we can consider the many ways to bring your mind and body back to its natural peace and calm. In today's episode, I want to kind of go back over episode 1035, but not in my voice. In 1035, I talked about quiet the noise, reduce your anxiety. And again, this is not a new topic in the world of anxiety, but one that needs reminding because of the prevalence and insidious nature of unnecessary noise in our lives. And one of our awesome listeners decided to share her journey with me in an email, and she has given me permission to share it with you. I also want to mention that I am going to be adding a link in the show notes to an article that I ran across back in March by Dr. Faith Coleman, and it was called Decluttering Your Life Can Save Your Mental Health. And I think you might find that interesting too. So that link will be in the show notes for you. But without further ado, let's get to listener Jay's email. She says, "Hi, Gina. I hope you are feeling better. And thank you. Yes, I am feeling better, even though I do probably still sound a little stuffy. I just heard your episode on having a media fast. I have recently subscribed to get your podcast ad-free. This is another step for me on my media fast journey. I began my media fast a year ago when I had a very big flare-up of anxiety. And it is through the media fast that I have uncovered so much more about myself. I found out that I have been living with anxiety and OCD, mental rumination is my compulsion, most of my life undiagnosed and trying to get better myself. My media fast consisted of cutting out my Facebook and my Netflix accounts. I treated myself to an Audible subscription instead to supplement my podcast listening. And this has helped me to tune out so much toxic noise and to tune in compassionately to my symptoms. Over the year, my phone has become my ally and friend. I have reduced all my material, quote, stuff, and I am now a lightweight traveler of a purse, lip cream, sunglasses, phone, earbuds, and laptop for work. Being a minimalist has reduced all the noise and stress from always thinking about the next shiny thing. My mental and emotional clutter has reduced by about 60% from this alone. I listen to the Minimalist podcast and stay connected with communities like yours that fuel my values and help me stay rooted in what matters most. Over the past 6 months, I found that I had the mental headspace to research cruelty-free cosmetics and toiletries and use my money to support these causes rather than flitting it away on junk. Recently, I made the decision to soften my viewing boundary and allow some viewing back into my life. I have subscribed to Apple TV. I am now mindful to subscribe monthly so that I can then stop it again when it feels like it is costing me too much in terms of my mental and emotional freedom. I have not looked back since coming off social media. My anxiety about doing regular posts and missing my kids' special times has reduced so much. Now I just take a couple of family snaps and I keep my Facebook account as it has so many family memories, but I have it locked and made it private for me. I also use Facebook for a couple of community groups. I feel I have a healthy relationship with it now. The Audible subscription has been a lifesaver. I can do walking meditations, I can listen to binaural music, I can listen to amazing, inspiring people whilst doing work or house jobs. My eyes thank me every day for giving them the gift of a much reduced blue light glare. My sleep hygiene has never been better, even though I have my phone in my bed to listen to your soothing podcast. Thank you again for being out there doing your beautiful work to help support lost, weary souls. In gratitude, Jay. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you a million, Jay, for sending that lovely email and sharing your journey so clearly. So I want to go back over now some of the points that you brought up and mention how this can be helpful for everyone listening. You've made great strides. And the first thing that I want to note is that you took information that was coming into you, whether you're listening to the Minimalists or you're listening to this show or many of the other wonderful podcasts out there, and then you made it your own. This is not a one-size-fit-all. Anything that we talk about here, same on the Minimalists. I listen to them also and have enjoyed them over the years. But all of it is for us to take in and to sift through what is important for us, where we need to begin, and then to implement those things. This is why your email, Jay, is so important for me to share with the listeners, because it shows them how you took information and made your own healing journey out of it. So again, I want to start here with the fact that you have recently subscribed to get our podcast ad-free, and I want to thank you for that. And definitely, I know the beauty of being able to listen to the episodes ad-free and what a difference it can make. Some people are not at that level, but for you, this was important. Again, this is taking what we talk about and all of the options out there in the world. Many shows are available in both free form and in ad-free paid subscription. And we take what works best for us for where we are at this moment. And I just wanted to thank you for becoming a subscriber because it actually helps to support the show. And I do agree this is a great step for you on your media journey. Now, what I noted here was that your media fast consisted of cutting out Facebook and your Netflix accounts. And I find that very intriguing because that's an interesting combination to me. So I understand the Facebook piece and love that you talked about further on not needing to be always posting or always getting the kids' perfect moment onto these kinds of social media accounts. It is exhausting, actually, to have to not only be living your life, but to have to leave being present in your life so that you can be sharing it on a social media account. No wonder we are tired. No wonder we are anxious. Now, back in the day, I went through this. We didn't have Facebook, obviously, back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I want to say we did have photo albums, though. And I put a great, huge burden on myself to try to keep up on those photo albums. And someday I will share the funny story about the eventual journey of all those beautiful photo albums, which are very important. We want to savor some of these moments, and we can savor them by looking back over them years later in photos. And maybe people are using social media accounts to do those things, such as the Facebook. But we don't want to become obsessed with these things. And many times when we are anxious people, we tend toward the neurotic side of things, and we overdo things. We're over concerned with things, and we may be trying to do too much. I love that you say you take a couple of family snaps and that's it, and go with that. You know, there are people in this world who have eventually lost all of their photos through floods or fires, or simply losing them with their travels and moving throughout the world in their lifetime. That doesn't make their life any less important. And do it because it brings you joy, just as you say, or you are making a few family snaps, but don't overburden ourselves with having to do it in a specific way. And I think that social media has actually steered many people toward this need to post, and to post all of the important things that are happening, or all of the things that are simply happening. Maybe they're not even important. It becomes an obsession, and you may not even realize it until you take a step such as Jay has taken and cut out that kind of behavior. Cut out a Facebook constant posting and see where you were really at. It's kind of like, because we become like the frog in the pot of water. We didn't feel it getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Next thing you know, we are boiled. And that is what is happening, I believe, with a lot of social media. So take a page out of Jay's book, and maybe you can cut out your Facebook for a while. Maybe you can cut it out forever. And then the interesting thing she did was to cut out her Netflix account. So I find that intriguing. I have a Netflix account. I have some other accounts also. And I looked at that and said, isn't this an interesting place for us to take a look at where we are spending a lot of time on media? Now, for many people that I work with, it is YouTube that is the focus. But I can very easily see how Netflix could also be that kind of go-to when maybe emotions are flaring, maybe when you're tired, maybe when you actually have other things to do but you are procrastinating. That Netflix account could be a go-to. So I found that very interesting, and hope that all of you who are listening can consider not just the social media, but the other social media accounts that we dive into on a regular basis. So then Jay goes on to say that she treated herself to an Audible subscription, and I find that very interesting. Listening can be so different from the actual watching a video, watching your social media. And so I think the switch up is very, very interesting, and something that you all might want to consider. She said it helped to tune out so much toxic noise and tune in compassionately to her own symptoms. Now, I think this is great because we are visual creatures, and we can go through life listening to something with our ears, but still being in the presence of our environment. So I think it's a great thing to look at and to try for yourself. And one of the things I wanted to mention about an Audible subscription is that if you don't want to pay for another subscription, you can check with your library, your online library. I know we have this here in Hawaii, so you must have it all over the mainland, where you get an online subscription to your library and all the audiobooks are free. most things that I looked for were available. Obviously, not everything is going to be available, and maybe you even, as you have to at the library, sometimes wait. But for those of you who are, not in a position maybe to add another subscription, you might want to check out your library, the online library for the audio books. Jay mentions that over the year, her phone has become her ally and her friend. What a beautiful switch, right? So many times we're told, oh my God, put your phone down, put it away. It's the problem. The problem is not the phone. The problem is what we are using it for and how we are letting it determine what we should be doing. But not when you take control. You too can become like Jay and have your phone become your ally and your friend. And she says that being a minimalist has reduced all the noise and stress from always thinking about the next shiny thing. This is so important. The world, the online visual world, is so filled with the next shiny thing that it can become overwhelming and we forget what is important in life. And this actually reminds me of a quote by Art Buchwald, and he said, "The best things in life aren't things." Jay goes on to say that she recently made a decision to soften her viewing boundary, and I really like this too. What this means is that your journey is ever changing. You get started on the path, you make your changes, and you can always go back and review. And finally, she says, my eyes thank me every day for giving them the gift of a much reduced blue light glare. And her sleep hygiene has never been better, even though she has her phone in her bed to listen to our podcast. Thanks again, Jay, for sharing your ideas and letting us have a little glimpse into how your media journey is changing. I'd love to hear from any of you, so feel free to send your ideas to anxietycoachespodcast@gmail.com. And now for today's quote. The best things in life aren't things. And that's from Art Buchwald. I'll be back in a few more days with another podcast. Until then, be well and aloha.
Thanks so much for joining us for today's episode of the Anxiety Coaches Podcast. Find more information at theanxietycoachespodcast.com.